Good morning, Garfield, New Jersey, and good morning, Bravehearts. Welcome back to Marv in the Morning. Oh man, I'm feeling good. I feel like yesterday went really well, and I'm so happy to be back. I think we have a great topic for today. I think we have great energy. It's a rainy day here in Jersey. I got the light stands doing heavy duty work. I had to place them differently, considering I have a lot of windows in my office, so. But the window, as it's a rainy day, so there's not a lot of light coming through that window. So, I got the light thing over there, the light box. But welcome back. It's great to be here. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to go over this topic. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Make sure that you hit the notification bell to stay up to date with everything that's going on here in Bravery Studios and all the content that we're putting on the YouTube channel. Digging the tunes too. I'm debating whether I want to change the intro music every episode. That's where I'm at now with it. But what you're hearing now is from the Snatcher OST. Snatcher being a Sega CD game. So I'm a video game nerd, so you have to forgive me if I'm using a lot of video game music in the stream. But listen, my first podcast was a gaming podcast. It was without a niche, so it didn't do too well. As you can see, I'm doing this now. But I still have a really strong love for gaming and all that jazz. But yes, welcome back. I'm also debating whether to go headphones the whole episode or not. So yeah, these are the life conundrums I'm in right now, right? These are the choices I must make that will determine the rest of my life. As you can see, right? But yeah, man, it's good to be here. It's good to be back. It's good to be doing this. I think I can actually, yeah, I can actually hear myself through my phone. So much for being a professional, right? But yeah, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I see the internet is a little bit weak today, but let's see if it stays consistent throughout the rest of the stream. But yeah, welcome back. And this is a lesson for those that do live shows. Don't let the internet discourage you from going live if you have a live show. It's one of those things that are an uncontrolled variable that goes into doing a live show. But record the video. If it's really that bad, re-upload it. And then, roll with the punches. That's the strongest piece of advice anyone can give you. Just roll with the punches, because things won't always go perfectly. Things will never go perfectly. There's always something, but you just have to roll with it. So let's roll with it, right? Okay, so yeah. Once again, I'm Marv, the producer, owner and creative director of Bravery Studios. If you're looking to start a podcast, check out braverystudios.com. We produce over 100 episodes, a week maybe. No, let's say 20. We produce 20 episodes a week for 20 different podcasts here at the moment. And, we handle all the heavy lifting, so you just have to come here and speak. You just have to come here and speak and let us take care of the rest. That's what we do here at Bravery Studios. We're New Jersey's #1 podcasting studio. Another thing that happened today that I noticed this morning, OBS, which is the streaming software that we use for broadcasting, it's what I'm using right now at the moment actually, is it just got a 10-year anniversary. So happy birthday, or happy 10th birthday to OBS, Open Broadcasting Software. I remember when OBS was rough in the early days. I think I tried to use it back in 2015, and I could not wrap my fingers around it. It was just too new, I guess. But now it's come to the point where OBS, being a free software, works better for me than most softwares that you have to pay for. It's a lot more user friendly. It's a lot more. It updates constantly. It's always getting updated. These guys do a great job with OBS. So I enjoy using it, and I don't know if I'll ever switch, because every time I think, all right, I have to use a different streaming software because OBS doesn't have this feature that I want to use, they add it. It's like they read my mind, so they add it to it. So yeah, shout out to OBS, shout out to Open Broadcasting Software. Happy 10-year anniversary today. I think it's today. So yeah, happy 10 year to them. What else? What else is on the horizon? Okay, so as you can see in the corner here, where is it? Right up here, right? I have a donation ticker for the Valor Room. Okay, so we've been in the process of constructing this room for a while. Um, we have a lot of great ideas for it, a great look for it, great design, and we have a donation ticker for those that want to assist in the construction of this room. So if you can, if you're interested, if you're already a member of Bravery Studios and you want to contribute towards this room so that we can get it done faster, we have a link that is in the description of the video. We have a link that's in the description of the video below if you want to check that out and you want to assist with that. Yeah, and get the room done faster. I mean, we're going for a different look, a more modern look. Our Courage room has a more vintage, kind of like old school Americana look to it. And I love that look a lot, but we've been constantly asked, like, hey, when are you going to introduce a room that's just couches and just more lounge style and more modern looking? And, I definitely want to have multiple looks here in the studio for every different variety of podcasts that records here. You absolutely have to have multiple looks for them. So yeah, this is the goal. That's where we're at. We're trying to raise $5,000 for it. And, anybody that wants to help out, the link is below in the chat. So, do your thing. Try to help out if you can. Where else are we on this? I want to give a shout out to that One Piece Talk podcast. These guys, I record them weekly here. They do a 2-hour show live on YouTube every Monday from 6 to 8. And these guys have been rocking and rolling since the beginning. Shout out to Larry, Sebastian, Lionel, Lawrence. These guys have been hitting home runs since they got here. And their podcast started here. They started fresh, 0 subscribers, all organic growth, all self-marketing, any social media stuff, anything collaboration-wise, they have done it themselves. And they've been rocking and rolling. They're about to break 4,000 subscribers, and they've been recording for a little over a year now. And I'm just proud. I'm proud to be their producer. I'm proud to have them here in the studio. And they got me into One Piece. I never thought I would ever read a manga. I've never read a manga. Which, if you don't know, that's Japanese comic books pretty much. I've never read a manga. I haven't watched the anime, which I think I'm going to start watching it soon. But yeah, and after recording these guys for a year, I kind of finally bit the bullet and said, you know what? Let me check this out. Let me check out what they're talking about. Because recording them, I never have any idea what the topic is about because I don't read One Piece. But I'm loving it. I'm loving it so far. From what I've read, I think I'm like 30 chapters in. And thank God I have this iPad here because I don't know if I would have bit the bullet if I didn't have an iPad. Because definitely wouldn't have been able to go to a bookstore or read it off a computer monitor. I definitely didn't want to do that. So yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to their growth and their success. I'm really proud of them. Really proud to be their producer. And I think yesterday you heard my voice for the first time on the show. I was reading some of the chat. I'm not the best reader out loud, but, just try to help out where I can. So, yeah, shout out to them. And make sure you check them out. If you're into anime, especially if you're into One Piece, they're definitely the podcast to watch right now. Okay. Another thing, podcasts or send me podcasts that they listen to. Something that's in the process of growing, not something that's huge already. Especially podcasters here from Jersey or New York or the whole tri-state area, if they're nearby. Shout out to Street Approved Podcast, dropping the fire in the chat. The goats, appreciate it. What up, B? How's it going, bro? Yeah, man. If you are a growing podcast, if you're new to the scene and you want me to review it or showcase it here on Marv in the Morning, I would love to showcase podcasters. And like I said, it could be a podcast from anywhere. But I will have a little bit of favoritism towards podcasts that are here from Jersey or New York or just the tri-state area. I would love to talk about podcasts that are on the rise, that are coming up or trying something new, and even give them new ideas and new perspectives on things. So yeah, if you are listening to a podcast that's on the rise, or you're starting a podcast and you just you're a couple episodes in and you want me to take a listen to it, by all means, you can send it to my email. Marvin@braverystudios.com. I'll give it a listen. I'll tell you what I think, and if I like it, I'll play a little bit of it here on Marv in the Morning, and give you some live, feedback on your podcast. So yeah, that's what I want to start doing. So feel free to send me your links. I'll check it out. I'll check it out. I'll check it out. All right. So yeah, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this now, shall we? Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, which is titled, Why Am I Getting Less and Less Views / Listens on Each Podcast Episode, each new podcast episode? So this is definitely something for newer podcasts. If you've been doing it for a long time, if you have years in and you're getting less and less views every episode, then there's probably gonna be another topic for you, another episode. This is more so for newer people that are starting. If you're less than a year in and you're noticing a trend of getting less numbers every episode, like I said, I'll come back to the guys that have been doing it for years and maybe need a pick me up or a boost in their numbers and their views and listens, right? Okay, so once again, the title of the episode is, Why Am I Getting Less and Less Views / Listens on Each New Podcast Episode I Release? Like I said, this happens to a lot of new people. And it happens for a very simple reason, for a very, very simple reason. And if you'll notice, even with like business, this happens to all creatives. This happens to everyone who starts something new. You will start off your new creative adventure with the support of your friends and your family. And, the people they share it with, they share this endeavor with, the people they put on to you, right? So that's just common with any endeavor. You start a business, your first clients may be your friends and family. You become a painter, you sell paintings, your first sale might be to someone you already know. It's pretty much your already internal network that you have developed, over the course of your life thus far, right? But it will come to a point, you will eventually grow to a point where these people, your friends, your family, and that close circle around you will not be able to support you as much anymore. There is a lot of excitement and curiosity when you're starting something new, and you have the attention of those closest to you. But after a while of doing it, after maybe months, let's say 3 months, 6 months in, your mom may not be able to watch every episode anymore. Your brothers and sisters, your friends, they may not have the time. You may have lost their curiosity. The topic may not just be for them. Not what you do has to have a niche, and they may not be part of that niche. How you doing, Scarlett? Welcome to Marv in the Morning. Your friends and family may not be part of that niche. They may not be part of it. And after a while, they will decrease their involvement in what you're doing because of that. They have their own lives to live and their own endeavors to go through. So after that point, you will see a drop in your listens / views, or in your sales if you're doing business. You will see a drop just because the curiosity and the excitement of something new is gone within your friends, family, and close circle. That close circle can only support you for so long. So I don't know where this chart came from, but I'm about to show a graphic that I think I found on the internet a couple of years ago, and I think it perfectly shows you the beginning scale of what is a podcast, like the beginning listener numbers. So let's bring that up now, right? Okay. So here we go. We got the podcast curve, right? The podcast curve. And I placed it right there in the center of the screen, so that way when I make social media clips out of it and, we get squeezed into that little cell phone box, that this doesn't get lost in there, because this is very important to this episode, essentially. Very important to this episode. And I'm actually going to bring it up on my tablet so I have a closer view of it. I have a screen there to my right, but I want to get a closer view. That way we're both looking at the same thing. Let's see, where are we at with this now? Okay. Let's do this. Files. And I think I placed it in this folder. You would have thought I would have had this ready beforehand, right? But how are you doing, everybody out there? Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell to stay up to date. Give me a thumbs up if you can. Let's see. Marv in the morning. Okay, here we go. Now I have it in front of me. Okay, the podcast curve. So you will see on day one, which is to the left, all the way to the left, you see that giant spike. You see the text that says, "I'm starting a podcast. I'm starting a podcast." This is with an exclamation point at the end, so you know, because there's an excitement to starting something new. There's always an excitement to starting something new. I'm starting a podcast. You're telling your friends and your family, and they're excited too. They're like, my friend, my son, my brother is starting this cool adventure, and I want to support him. I want to be there for it. So I'm going to watch as many episodes. I'm going to watch them all. I'm going to stick around and watch them all and support them throughout the entire journey. That is an unrealistic expectation for someone to have of themselves, that they're going to be able to support you throughout the extent of your journey. And I'm not trying to be a cynic, but it's just life. It's just facts. You can only give something your attention for so long before you have to switch your attention to something that is going to benefit you, or be better for your family or better for your life, right? Supporting your brothers or cousins' podcasts may not, give you back, may not have a good ROI, right? So yeah, I'm starting a podcast. You see the spike there. You see the spike, and you see an immediate drop right after that. An immediate drop. And then the text says, where's all my fans? And you see a giant incline there. It's almost 90 degrees. Less than 90, actually. It's actually curving inward a little bit, as if it's going back in time on this graphic here, right? Okay. So then the next thing it says is, I have to do this every week. And then it's like, the realization just hits you. This is what happens to a lot of podcasters too. And this is when you get to test your own endurance. I have to do this every week. Maybe you wanted to start a podcast, but you did not expect it to be so much work. You didn't expect that, wow, I really have to, dedicate time to this. Like this becomes almost a job after a while. And yeah, you don't want to be in that space where it feels like it's a lot of work, because if you already have a job, then having to may be a lot for you, maybe a lot for you to handle. So yeah, I have to do this every week, and you see that it's flat. It's a flat line. There's like very little growth in that line there. Very little growth in that line there. And this is when many podcasters will give up. In that line right there is when many podcasters will give up on it, because they'll say, this is work. I'm not getting listens. It's a flat number across. Nobody's even listening to this anymore. I give up. I'm going to hang up my cape, and I'm going to retire like Batman, like Bruce Wayne and Batman Beyond over here, right? So then you see another drop too. It doesn't get any better from here just yet. It doesn't get better from here just yet. So you see another drop. It says underneath the line there, my guest canceled. So what happens to people that rely too heavily on the guest? And this happens to a lot of podcasters, right? What happens to people that can only do an episode based on the guest? Because, hey, my show is an interview show. I can't have an episode unless the guest shows up. This happens a lot too, and this is very tragic, that people will cancel the episode. People will not record that week if a guest cancels on them. And yeah, it's heartbreaking. And I want to make an episode just particularly about that, about shows that are just too reliant on guests, too overly reliant on guests. Because, yeah, the reason there's a drop there is most likely because they just didn't record that week. Whoever made this chart just said, my guest didn't show up. I have nothing to talk about on this week's episode. My show is all about the guest, right? To the right of that is, all right, no one is listening. I'll just pod fade, which I've never heard the term before other than this chart. I guess pod fade is just giving up without any type of explanation and just fading away. I'll just pod fade. Yeah, like that. And then you look back on it maybe like 10 years later and like, oh yeah, I did a podcast like way before in my youth, in my younger days. I had a podcast. So yeah, no one is listening. I'll just pod phase. Okay. Pod phase then, brother. Pod phase. Okay. Then here we go. This is when things get a little better for you. This is when things get a little better for podcasters now. A little bit better. My guest shared the episode. Now we have an incline. Now we're going upwards. The line is going upwards now. My guest shared the episode. Hey, we have more listeners. Hey, that guest actually helped out. That guest actually had an audience. He had a following. He or she had a following. And look, my views are going up now. But then it's not all gravy from there, because you still have some dips, and then you have waves, and then it says, is this mic even on? Listen, this is going to happen to a lot of people that do podcasting at home. It's going to happen to almost everyone. Do not get discouraged or heartbroken when you lose an episode because of equipment that your own mistake of not turning on equipment or something like that. Don't get too discouraged from that. Don't get too heartbroken from it. It happens. It happens. You know what I mean? Is this mic even on? Yeah, that happens to a lot of podcasters. I've watched a lot of close friends that have podcasts that, yeah, they get to record. They record. They're thinking they're recording a really great episode. They think they recorded a really great episode. Come to find out, they didn't even turn on the microphones or hit record, or the battery died. So they have nothing. Don't worry. Don't let that break your heart. You'll always have another great episode. Don't let that stop you from doing another great episode. So yeah, you got to dip there. But finally, and this chart starts from day 1 and it goes to day 768. Finally, after remaining on this roller coaster, because this is a roller coaster chart. Just look at this thing. Look at this roller coaster of a chart here. Finally, it says, wait, consistency is working. Finally. Now, this is probably not too accurate of a drawing, right? It's probably just done for the memeness and for the lols or whatnot. But this is actually pretty factual. Once your friends, your family, your close circle, once your guests help out and share the episode, once everyone that is not a real listener goes away, you kind of have to lose those pity views and pity listens, I call them, because it's not that they pity you, but it's that they're supporting as much as they can. But once they're gone, this is when you start finding your real community. This is when you start building a real audience. Now you've found people that are actually interested in what you're speaking on, that are actually part of that niche in that community that you've been trying to build. Now you're building a real audience, and it takes very long to get to this point, to find actual viewers, actual listeners. But you must remain on this roller coaster if you were to even get to this point. I mean, look, that's day 1 to day 768. Now, I don't think it's going to take 700 days. It's not going to take 2 years. It could take 1. And actually, there is no timeline you can even put on it. You just have to endure the pitfalls of this in the beginning. The pitfalls that will discourage many people in the beginning. If you can ride out the desert phase of your podcast and you can make it to that point, then it's uphill from there. Because once you start finding your audience, this audience starts sharing it. And this audience is probably part of communities that are also interested in this niche as well. So now it almost becomes self-perpetual. Not 100% self-perpetual. You do have to promote still. You do still have to grind. You still have to be consistent. But now, at least for the most part, you're on the incline. You're going up. Now you're actually finding a real audience for your podcast. So this is the part where most people don't even make it to, because they just can't endure the dips. And podcasting is like everything else on this world. Most things come in waves. Most things, there are good times and there are bad times. Even in business, even running the studio, you have to maintain the endurance to make it to the good times. You have to just keep your head above water during the times where it seems like this isn't even reaching anyone anymore. This is the numbers are discouraging me so much that I just don't even know if I can continue doing this. It's not profitable. I got a wife at home who's complaining on spending all my time doing this, and it's not giving me anything back in return. And that's understandable too. If you got, real life things that you need to worry about. Not that the podcast is not real life, but you want to stay consistent, but you don't want to let this thing, derail the rest of your life. You definitely don't want that. But you want to remain consistent enough and keep it easy enough for yourself to make it to that point. I usually tell people, do 1 hour a week, promote the rest of the week, and just try to stay consistent with that flow, to make it to the point where it says, wait, consistency is working. Then we reach the end of the chart. We reach right to the end and it says, they like me. They really like me. So now you're at the point where you've developed friendships and bonds with your viewers, where they're not just listening just because you're speaking about something that they are interested in. Now they're interested in you. Now they've become your friend. Podcasting is kind of like building a community. Not even kind of. It is. Podcasting is 100% building a community and a bond with your audience. You want everyone that watches your show to be your friend. And you build a friendship and a bond like that, and it'll last forever. They'll follow you to other endeavors if you want to expand beyond your niche at some point. That friendship that you've built with them will lead them to follow you into other endeavors as well. So this is the curve. This is where you want to survive. This is where you want to just maintain the endurance and the patience and the motivation too. You don't want to lose motivation. I've worked with a lot of people, and not just in podcasting, and a lot of creative endeavors, where I see amazing, talented people. I've met amazingly creative people that I just say to myself, this man's going to be rich. He's doing all this creative jazz. He has just brilliant ideas, genius level ideas. But, he can't make it past the desert, the flat line scale, the flat part of this graph. He just can't make it past it. He doesn't have the endurance. And you can be the most creative person in the world, but if you can't make it past that endurance part, if you can't make it to the point where people start noticing your work, then you'll never succeed. You have to endure some of the dry spots. And I'll tell you what, it makes you cherish the good times even more. Because you start to remember what it was like. Well, I remember when no one was even listening to this. I remember when this was not successful at all. And now look where we're at, because we decided to stick with it. A couple years ago, I started reading the book Think and Grow Rich. It's on my shelf right there. And Napoleon Hill. He talks about during the gold rush that miners would be mining and mining and mining, and they'd give up after a while, not knowing that they were this close to gold. And someone else will come, pick up the axe, hit the spot right where they were mining, where they gave up at, and a little while later they'd strike gold. They'd find the gold nuggets or whatever they were back then. So it's an endurance test. And I know that, hey, this is a leap of blind faith, right? This is blind faith to just keep going with something if it's not succeeding. It is a leap. It is a leap of faith. And you do have to find it within yourself to keep going, because no one can guarantee you success. Just because you're consistent doesn't automatically equal success either. But you just have to trust yourself. Believe that what you're doing is, what people want to hear. That this will find an audience, and then you will endure those tough spots. And there's nothing wrong with giving up and trying again either. If you feel like it's not working, you want to try something else, you want to narrow down your niche even more, then by all means, you can't be afraid to start over either if something's not working. If it's just not there, not in the cards, and you just came to a revelation that, hey, the way I did this in the beginning, I kind of didn't set myself up for the future with the growth of this thing. It's not scaling well. It doesn't scale well. So yeah, you know what I mean? You feel free to start over. I often find that when I play video games, at some point, if I'm really, really stuck and I just can't make progress in a game, I will start over. And the knowledge I have from playing the game for already 10 hours, I bring that back to the beginning of the game, and I am the best at it now. Now, the trials that I had in the beginning aren't there anymore. They're nothing. They're twigs being thrown at me. They're nothing. So yeah, this is it. The podcast curve. I should actually probably maybe even title the episode The Podcast Curve. But yeah, try to endure. Try to stick with it. And if you can make it past this curve, there's good things beyond the horizon, beyond the valley there. Just like the economy, just like TV shows that have one good season and then a really bad season, podcasting comes in waves. And you just have to endure the tough moments of it, the no hope moments of it. Just endure that. And beyond that horizon is your audience, is the growth that you're looking for. Just endure. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it for today. I think we've gotten the point across. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Yeah, man. And like I said earlier, if you have a podcast and you would like me to review it, you'd like some feedback from me, I'm definitely not, the guy from American Idol who's going to totally crap on your idea or whatnot. But I will be as blunt as possible with, hey, Tamika, how are you, my love? But yeah, I will most certainly be as honest and blunt as possible with what I think of your podcast in a nice, constructive way. And if I like what I'm hearing, then I will absolutely promote it on Marv in the Morning. I will absolutely showcase it. Maybe play a little clip from it too. I'm coming back. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, let's chop it up, Tamika. Let's chop it up. Let's definitely chop it up. But yes, this has been Marv in the Morning. Another great episode. I'm good. Glad to hear. Another great episode. What else do I have on my Google Doc over here that I absolutely must speak on? Okay. All right. So tomorrow's episode is actually going to be a little more fun. A little less serious, right? Well, I guess it can be serious, right? It can be. Let's see there. What happened to my music here? Press play. Oh, I think I lowered it here. Did I? Well, there you go. Here we go. You look handsome. Thank you. Trying my absolute best over here to have a new look. But yes, indeed. Tomorrow's episode. How many co-hosts should I have? Good question. This is probably not going to be as in-depth as something like, why am I losing listeners every episode? But either way, I get asked this question all the time. I sometimes get asked, why can't I have 8 people on my show? Blah, blah, blah. Find out tomorrow why you don't want to have 8 heads on your show speaking at the same time. Hey, we'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Man, I love doing this. And I love reconnecting with people. Shout out to Tamika. Can't wait to see you come back. Shout out to Scarlett. Shout out to Street Approved. Shout out to everybody watching. Once again, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. We also have a Discord channel now for Bravery Studios. I think I forgot to put that in the description of the video. We definitely have a Discord channel now for it. So, yes, indeed. Make sure you check that out. And we'll be back mañana with more Marv in the Morning. Hey, shout out to Scarlett with the Purple Heart. Scarlett needs to start a podcast too soon. Scarlett is one of those people that I find immensely creative. And as listening to her speak, I'm like, yes, this woman needs a podcast. We got to make that happen, Scarlett. We definitely have to make that happen. But yes, Bravehearts will be back tomorrow. Stay brave. Fight for the future. Peace.